Hello, my friend, and welcome. This is the Back to Me podcast, and I am Heather, and I am super excited that you are here. And I just want to let you know that you're going to hear some tips and some tricks, some ideas, all to help you live your happiest and healthiest life. It is called Back to Me because when you are taking care of yourself, then you can take better care of others. And my goal is to make the world a better place. This is Wellness Your Way. I am really happy that you're here. Your true self is waiting. So it is time to step up and thrive. Hello, my friend, and welcome to another super amazing episode of the Back to Me podcast. And of course, I'm Heather because, I'm the boss in this realm anyway. And today we have, we're laughing, but today's topic is, for some people, can be a total bummer. But I'm talking to Lynn Banis about things. I'll let you introduce the topic. But Lynn, we were just talking briefly about careers and people, and we were talking about specifically management. But I think it's almost like it applies to what you're going to talk about today. Is you don't know how to manage sometimes with dealing with people in difficult conversations, whether it's in business or in personal life.
Absolutely.
And you are let's use it, Dr. Lynn Banis.
Dr. Lynn.
Dr. Lynn, and your everything is called Widows Rising Together.
Right.
And your story is, I feel like I'm sad, but somehow you came out on the other side. And so let's give a little bit of what that story was and how that unfolded for you.
Okay. All right. Several years ago, I was taking care of my mother, who lived until 106. She was amazing. Wow. And she passed. And then within 2.5 years' time, I lost my little brother and my husband.
Oh, my Lord.
What a triple whammy, really. Grief compounds. So it was a difficult time. You feel like the rug is totally pulled out from under you. You have no idea who you are. Your brain is so fogged, you can't think. But, I spent the first year dealing and not dealing with it. And I learned a ton. And then one day I kind of had a light bulb go off, and I thought, you know what? I don't care how old I am. You can see I'm a spring chicken. I am going to take what I have learned and all the skills I've gotten over the years, and I'm going to help other people through this, because I figured out how to do it in a way that really made the pain less. And I am just such a happy camper now that I'm doing something I feel fulfilled, I feel worthwhile. And the most important thing is I know I am helping people live better lives. So, when one door closes, as horrible as actually those 3 doors were, something else opens. It can be an opportunity. And, it's hard for people who are in the middle of grieving to even imagine that that's possible. But it is, and my belief is that we all deserve a life that we can love, and that's what I do. I do a little different than a lot of grief mentors do. I don't really deal too much with the early grief, because I'm into having people make great decisions. And when you're under all that stress from emotions and the brain fog, you can't make great decisions. But when you are getting to the point where you're saying, I hate it here, I don't like this club, I didn't last to be in it, I want something different, that's when I can step in and I help that person work through the mental blocks that they might be having about moving forward, and re-identify who in the heck they are, figure that out, who they want to be. And I walk them through my process right into creating the vision for their new life and a roadmap to get there. And so I take them from being left with from the grief specialists with, okay, now you can manage your emotions better, have a nice life, to the nice life.
Right. It's true. It is very different to go from that rawness, and some people try to rush through that part, but you can't really rush through that part. I mean, it's got to run its course,
It
but
does.
don't get stuck there, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing. We do get stuck. And it's not our fault. It's that we don't have a clue how to move forward. And I always tell people, if you don't have a mentor or someone like me, find someone who will take your hand and walk you through the process. No one should have to do it alone.
Right.
No one.
And it's interesting. So I'm just remembering, I think now it was like 10 years ago, so I'm in my 50s, but so I would have been in my 40s. The first significant individual for me to pass away didn't happen until my 50s.
Wow.
And yeah,
Amazing.
like super lucky for me, but it didn't set me up to deal with it. And it was my grandfather. And I didn't know the things that you know. So 2 years on, I was like, why do I still randomly start crying? You know? So I had to go and find someone who could tell me what. I called it emotional incontinence.
I love that.
Right? Why is this happening? And I spent some time untangling all of that. And it's hard when you don't know, and you don't know that it doesn't have to be that way, right?
Right. Well, it's any widow or widower, anyone who's had significant loss of a job, or something that's really essentially taken their identity away, it is going to tell you that you have no idea until you've gone through it.
Right. Even divorces can do it to you, right?
Pardon?
Even a divorce can do it
Oh,
to you.
yes,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, when you lose your identity, yesterday I was wife and today I'm not. Yesterday I was a mother and today my child's gone. Yesterday I was totally healthy and today I can't ambulate at all. So I work with all of those things, and it's just disheartening because you think, is this all that is?
Right.
Is this what the rest of my life is going to be like? And it doesn't have to be.
And we talked about how, I think we talked about getting stuck. And I think part of that is something you mentioned before we came on about that taboo of talking it, because nobody wants to talk. It's like we're afraid if we talk about death that we're asking it to come.
Yeah, something like that. I know there's this huge taboo, and not all cultures have that, because there
Right.
are some cultures that celebrate. It's a passing, it's a milestone, but we don't do that. Good old Anglo-Saxon, European background where stiff upper lip kind of thing. And it's too bad, because people then are afraid and they truly don't know what to say or do when a family member or a good friend or somebody's going through this, when that person in grief needs their friends and family so badly. And that's one of the things I do is I help, do a lot of talks on, what do you say? What do you do? How do you treat someone? And it's not rocket science. I think that so many of us want to fix somebody, to make it better. Right. And that's not what you need to do. You just need to be present. Just sit with the person. If you see the dishes are dirty, go do them and don't say anything. If you realize the person isn't eating, which of course they probably aren't, you don't want to bring them a big 13x9 casserole for them. Especially, I have to laugh about this, if it's lasagna, please don't take lasagna to people. Everybody gets about 9,000 pounds of it.
I can't eat it anyway. So it's like,
well,
thanks.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, you need to make sure it's something that they can eat. And my suggestion is you do small amounts of something that they can almost just snack on, because sitting down to a meal is not something they feel like doing.
Right.
But they may get hungry, they may not, but things like, a bowl of fruit or cheese and crackers, or, a soup that they can heat up quickly. Because they don't have the energy, the motivation. I remember opening the refrigerator door and just staring in there going,
right.
Nothing appeals, and shutting the door and forget it, I'm not going to eat. But, you can do little things like drop a small bag of groceries off. And you can buy somebody some fast food gift cards. People aren't about to go out to a restaurant by themselves, not a nice restaurant, and sit by themselves, but they might go through a fast food line. They won't have to talk to anybody. They just tell them what they want and thank you and pay, and
You don't even have to do that anymore. You can just punch it in on a little screen.
That's true. That's true. Right. But people want to kind of withdraw, and that's, it's kind of like the turtle shell. It's protective at first because there's so much coming at them. And, a fact that a lot of people don't realize is that when you have a significant trauma loss like that, your brain immediately rewires itself, because its job is to keep you safe. And it is used to, it kind of makes a map of everything that you're involved with day in and day out. It's kind of like, I kind of can relate it to, you can get up in the middle of the night and walk through the house and not crash into everything, right, because you've got this map in there where everything is. Well, your brain does that, but then all of a sudden it goes, wait a minute, where is that person? I have to fill this empty space. And it tries different things to just try to help you get through all of that emotion and reacclimate. And that takes time. Right. And so that's part of that brain fog that people go through.
Well, it's interesting. Like, it's almost, so I don't know if you probably know about the teenage brain, how the teenage brain is being rewired. So we think how can you be so spaced out? But their brain is firing up and setting up its connections. And it never occurred to me that it's like something that significant a change also requires rewiring. But when you say it, it makes complete sense.
Absolutely.
So we shouldn't give ourselves a hard time. Like, some people won't give themselves that time to rewire, and they try to push themselves into everything, I guess. Like, some people completely retreat, some people ignore it and drive forward.
Yeah. And they usually get sick.
Right?
Because your body will tell you, stop. You're overloading, you're getting too stressed. And then if we don't deal with it, then we can get into prolonged grief, which is it's very dangerous. It can kill people because it just...
I've never heard of this.
You haven't?
No.
Oh, yeah. Psychological prolonged grief is a term now. And it's the recognition that people haven't dealt with the emotional, which causes the physical. Oh. And it causes mental issues, and can, if it's not dealt with. No, it's not every day that happens, of course. But I read something the other day that they have now decreed, quote unquote, that broken heart syndrome does kill people.
Really?
Yeah.
I've been watching all these shows from, like, the 1800s. Oh, she died of a broken heart. I'm like, as if.
No, they're saying it's true now. So, Yeah. So I mean, it's and the thing that is so difficult about it is, as you said earlier, we're all going to face grief at some time. We're all going to face loss of people that we love. But I think that we are really all grieving right now and have been since at least COVID for the loss of the life that we used to have, the person we used to be.
Yeah.
And that's causing a lot of stress.
You can see in the world, well, at least in North America, but yeah, I mean, you can see people are not as resilient as they were.
Right. Right.
And it's interesting. I want, like, so if it is grief, there is a way for them. Maybe they just don't recognize that
Exactly.
they're not dealing with I call it, it's funny because I call it the time before.
Yeah. Which is exactly right. I like that.
The time before, and I don't even have to mention the word COVID. People go, oh yeah,
Yeah.
time before, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was such a shock to our systems.
And it's interesting because I wouldn't have called it grief. I was totally knocked sideways when COVID hit, because at the time I had a full-time practice as a massage therapist. So suddenly I'm like, kapow, I can't work. Kapow,
No.
kapow. But I would say in the years since then, I'm actually way I mean, I loved being a massage therapist, but what I have grown into and moved into is so much more aligned for me. But I can see where people, if they're still trying to live in what they had before, it looks a little bit the same on the outside, but it's not the same.
No, it's not the same.
Right.
And I think what's happened too is that the loneliness, I mean, that's been called an epidemic now. I mean, you and I, we're talking, but we aren't sitting over a cup of coffee having a real conversation per se. And there's a huge difference. I mean, I'm constantly on these things or in meetings that have like 9,000 little Brady family boxes
And green
of all
screens
these
with
people.
weird things happening.
Yeah. And you feel like, well, this is my family. These are my friends. I'm with them all the time.
Are you under an airport?
I'm sorry?
Are you under an airport?
I didn't hear.
I said, are you under an airport?
Yeah, it's the Navy jets.
Cool.
Yeah, they're military jets. So do we need to?
No, I don't edit. I think it's real life. I like to have real life stuff happen. It's like, whoa, is that an airplane?
That's a big old jet.
Cool.
Yeah.
My husband loves airplanes, so I'll let him know that you're underneath the military jets. He'll be very excited.
Okay.
So sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
Well, let me think.
I know. What were we talking about?
Where was I?
Damn it. COVID.
Yeah, we talked about
The
COVID.
grief,
I was going to say, I'm in a lot of groups where, I'm on a Zoom call with 100 people and they're all in their little Brady boxes and you feel like, oh, these are my friends. This is my family. I meet with them every week. But it's not the same.
It's not the same. And it's funny because even now people who live within an hour of each other here will choose to meet online versus in real life because we've gotten lazy about going out.
Mm-hmm.
And well, that's a pain. Let's just meet online.
Yeah.
But just yesterday, a friend and I met in real life because we said, well, this is no good. Let's meet in real life. And it's just so much more fun. Because you're in the energy of the person. You can touch the person. You can see their whole body. They're just not a head floating.
They may not be in jammies on the bottom.
Oh, it's okay if they are. I don't care. But there is something different about being in person than I mean, I love the fact that we can connect with people from near and far.
Yes.
And some of my bestest friends right now I met online, but after I met them, I flew down to meet them in real life because it's different,
It
right?
is different. It is different.
So, do we have a suggestion for people to shift out of this COVID grief?
Yes, I think so. And the number one thing is to acknowledge it, and then go through your self-limiting beliefs. And what are you telling yourself? What are the shoulds, oughts, and musts that are going on in your brain? And challenge that. Is that really true? How could I make that or change that into something that's more supportive of me and more true? Because things have changed and there's no question. And, we get those little tapes going in our mind that have been there since we were children. And so, we probably are all at the point where we should be taking a look at what we're saying to ourselves and reevaluating that. I catch myself every once in a while saying, "You're an idiot," or something like that. And, that's just not good stuff.
And it's not true either, right?
No, it's not true, but we all do it.
I try not to.
Well, I
It's
try
funny.
not to too,
Yeah.
but make the point.
Yeah, I had a podcast at one point called "Stop Shooting All Over Yourself," because I should be this, I should be that,
Mm-hmm.
and I always say, "Why? Why should you be doing that?" Like,
Says who?
he says who?
Yeah.
And there's also like this. I had a client once who had a head injury, and she was grieving for who she thought she was.
Okay, here they come again.
Here they come again. Get ready, everybody. Kapow, kapow. Oh, that one's not as bad.
Oh, that's not as bad.
She was grieving for who she thought she was before her head injury. And she didn't realize what an amazing human being she was afterwards. And I didn't know her before. I knew her afterwards. And I had to point out to her how unique and interesting she was post head injury because it had given her this new perspective. But she still wanted the old life. So in looking at COVID, I think sometimes maybe they don't recognize it because they don't recognize they're pining for what this old life, or they don't even know how to define it.
Exactly.
But I think that the old life maybe wasn't all as great as you think it was, and the new one is even better. So,
well, and it's all up here. It's all in our worldview and our mindset. We make of it what we think.
right.
And we forget that we always have a choice, which is hard to remember when you're feeling very emotional about something. And but we've got to learn to stop and say, okay, now what's really happening? What could I do? What can be some options? Because some of the time we're all upset because we feel like we have no control. And
Right.
if we can find something that, even small little something that we have control over, which is ourselves and what we think, then we can feel like we are gaining on it all.
Right. Well, no control, and that it's done. Like our life is done when somebody exits, or some significant piece of us exits, we're done. But I like how you said, I'm not going to sit around and do this for the rest of my life. And kudos to mom, 106. Woo woo. Like I was planning to live till 120. So that just proves that
You can do it.
I can do it, man.
Maybe it's you Canadian. She was born in Saskatoon.
Oh yeah, hardy Westerner. Definitely. And what was I saying? My God, see, I get so easily looking at the snowflakes outside. The living long. Oh yes. So in North America, it seems like in other cultures, the wise elders are still
Respect.
are still part of the unit, where North America, we just kind of say, oh, okay, your life's over now, just go over there and just wait to die. But I think that's a load of crap,
I do too. I do
because
too.
who says that you stop learning, stop growing, stop doing things? Maybe you're not bungee jumping anymore, but like I think it was my husband's uncle or something went back to school and got a master's degree at 80. It's like, who says you have to stop doing things? And that's another story we tell ourselves.
Yes, yes. I just did with my grandkids. We wrote a book called "Says Who." It's about a little guy who goes out of his village to see what's out there, and he runs into all these roadblocks, and they're all self-limiting beliefs. You're not going to make it, and like a big boulder. And he goes, "Well, I probably aren't. I probably should go back." And then he goes, "Says who?" And the thing disappears, and he can go on through, and he takes his little walk. And that we had so much fun writing that.
That should be a self-help book for grown-ups. I mean, I still have on my bookshelf Dr. Seuss's "Oh, the Places You'll Go."
Right.
Right? Because, and I still pull it out every now and then to remind me that I can do whatever the heck I want, and you're not the boss of me, right? And I can decide. I know that I'm an unusual species for some people. I'm a bit excessive, but who cares? You
Right.
know?
We're who we are, and that's something again that we need to learn to accept.
Right.
We'll find our tribe, our people will be drawn to us and connect with us because they like us for who we are.
And where is your book? Is your book out? It must be out. Are you going to publish it?
Oh, I haven't. I mean, no, I just I think I should.
I think you should. I'm 100% serious. Like, get that up there. People need that book, because even if grown-ups read it to their kids, the grown-ups will be learning at the same time.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of, little like the Who Moved My Cheese. Remember that years
Right?
ago? It's just a little fable.
Yeah. Move my cheese.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that book is legendary.
Yes,
That,
it is.
oh my goodness, so funny. And I know you have a YouTube channel too.
I do have a YouTube channel. It is relatively new. It's called Widows Rising Together. And I do want to say that I don't just work with widows. I came up with that name and thought it was a great name. And then all the widowers start saying, wait a minute, what about us? So I work with anybody who could use some support and help. But yeah, and I've just started doing a couple little freebies. On Monday, I do a quick video with, I call it Monday Quick Start, which are just some, quick thoughts to think about for the week, make your life a little better. And then Friday freebies, which is pretty similar, but a little bit different.
Right.
So so
well, no matter how many times you hear something the same time, sometimes it takes 10 times before you go, oh, right, I get it.
Yeah. And they're different. They're not the same pieces of information each week. So they're all different. But one of them, I guess this last Monday's was, are you stuck or just on pause? Because sometimes we are put into pause to think through things. We're not really stuck. We're just maybe gaining strength or energy or mind clarity. And so instead of jumping to the conclusions that we're stuck and we don't know what to do and, oh, poor woe is me, maybe it's a chance for us to reevaluate a little bit.
I just wrote that down, by the way.
Oh, you did?
I'm like, that's a writer downer right there. I love that. Are you stuck or just on pause? And it's interesting because when I'm coaching people, I'm stuck. Nothing's happening. I'm like, really? It's like nothing is ever not happening.
That's right.
You just can't perceive sometimes what's going on, right? It's like outside of your stratus, your immediate awareness.
Yeah. It's like the fish in the water. That's their environment. They don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really good. That's a good one too. And I was going to say, if you want to keep the same letters, you could call it We Rise Together.
Well, thank you very much. I'm writing that down.
I tell people sometimes I'm an ideas doula. I come up with ideas constantly, but I can't raise all those children, so I give them away.
I love it. I love your sense of humor. That's great.
Oh my goodness. If I didn't have a sense of humor, I wouldn't navigate life, right?
It makes a big difference,
It's
doesn't
too
it?
hard to be serious all the
You got to
time.
have those endorphins floating around.
And where do people find you when they want to talk to you?
I have given you, and I know you're going to post on the notes,
Yeah.
my LinkedIn address, my Facebook address, my calendar. People are welcome to make an appointment and have just a little bit of a discovery call to find out, what I can do for them. And I try very hard during one of those to help solve an immediate problem, so
Right.
they have something to take away. And I do have a website. It is an app, and I'm just getting it filled out, which is
Cool.
really cool. Yeah, because I thought, I can put things on there like, maybe a little story or a meditation. If somebody wakes up in the night distraught, they could just flip that on and get some soothing time for themselves.
Right. That's awesome. You are on the cutting edge. You have an app. That's very cool. So yes, don't worry everybody, because it's in the show notes, wherever that is, upside down, sideways. It's in the show notes. And if you can't find it, you can always just send me a message, because I'll tell you where to find it. Right?
Okay, and also I'm going to, I haven't sent it to you yet, but I'm
Hmm.
going to send you a little gift that people can download that should be helpful to them.
Awesome. Free downloads. Who doesn't love freebies?
That's right.
And my advice for people who love freebies, don't put it into your freebie graveyard in your computer. Like,
Okay.
actually take action with it.
You
I can
don't-
hear an airplane.
Oh, he's coming closer.
Wow. That's crazy, Pam.
It is crazy. Some days you're under the flight path and some days you're not.
Right? Well, they definitely announced their presence.
Yeah, well, the good thing is that we get to see the Blue Angels a lot practicing right over the house.
Well, here's the thing. Now that I know that, my husband may be knocking on your door at some
Well,
point.
come on down. Virginia Beach is a lovely place to visit.
We'll meet in real life for coffee and watch airplanes.
There we go.
Before we go, though, the guest always gets the final words of wisdom. Do you have a final thought to share with our friends?
I do have a final thought. We get so stuck in everyday living, and when you feel like you're kind of at wit's end about things, I want you to stop and remember you have lived your lifetime gaining knowledge, experiences, all things that have equipped you for where you are right now. You are strong. It's in you. Just grab it and hold on tight, because it will help get you through.
Amazing. That's so good. Yeah, we forget how smart we are, don't we?
We do. We do. We forget those lessons we've learned that were very important.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Thank you, Lynn.
You're very welcome.
It's been awesome chatting with you.
It has been fun.
Yes. Friends in podcast land, go and check out Lynn's website and her freebie and her YouTube channel, and get the book Says Who, because seriously, we all need to walk around going, says who? Unless you're doing something illegal. Okay.
There,
We'll make
there
that.
you go.
We'll make that. And if you learned something, drop us a comment to see, a new perspective. If you know someone who's struggling, just send them this little podcast with a little heart, with some love, right? Thank you, friends, and we will see you next time. Take care. Hello, my friend. I hope you enjoyed that episode. And if you found it useful and you're like me and you want to help others, please share this, comment, like, subscribe, all of those things that will help this podcast to be found by more people. And if you found it useful, there's a chance that someone else will find it useful as well. If you ever have any questions, I am here to answer your questions. I would love to help you. My direct email address is info@heatherstewart.coach. You can also find me at heatherstewart.coach. And if you go over to my website, you will find copies of the podcast. You'll find the link to my Instagram and my Facebook. And I do have a personal request because I do want to help as many people as I can with these podcasts. So if you could give me a review, and my friend, I would love if you gave me a good one. If you could share this, if you could send it out into the world, I would truly appreciate it. I hope that you have an amazing day. I hope that you are finding your way back to wellness by getting back to me. Take care, my friend. Be well, and we will see you again next time.